Everybody, we are back. It is Saved Online's favorite podcast, favorite channel, favorite is everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me, at mholder95 for Matt, and of course, pandasubs.com. Discount code TDL for 25% off. All right. So today we're gonna be looking at Zach Carter and Trey Tucker. So defensive end Zach Carter and wide receiver Trey Tucker. I'm looking at Trey Tucker because Trey Tucker, every time I see that Geno Smith threw a touchdown, is the Trey Tucker. So I think that's very interesting, and we're kind of talk about that. And then Matt's gonna be looking at Zach Carter and see what he could do. See if he can push Tyree Wilson. Because I was asked that question on the radio, and I had no idea who was behind him. So this is a great episode for me. Personally,
to learn about it. Carter's a little more of a tackle, but yeah, I think with how they're running like odd fronts, like they'll probably end up at the same spot. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. All right. So nothing else is really going on. No news coming out of OTAs or anything like that. Nothing crazy. Yeah. Nothing new.
Not much going on. Yeah. I mean, part of the reason why I was doing Zach Carter is just one of that one OTA piece that we got a week back from Deshaun. Like he had mentioned that with Butler and obviously Wilkins out, like that Carter was one of the defensive tackles getting a bunch of reps. So figured he was some guy that a lot of Raider fans don't know a ton about, just because justifiably so, just because last year he was picked up midseason after he was cut from the Bengals after I think 3 seasons there or 2.5 seasons there. And then didn't really play until the end of the year. But he does do some good stuff against the run. Like he's pretty strong to be able to like hold up at the point of attack, get extension on blocks like that. Like that's basically, I got 12 clips. That's 9 of them that we're going to look at today. Kind of gets a little repetitive. And then on top of it too, like he can get some penetration every now and again as a changeup. As a pass rusher, he had 1 pressure, so I'm not even going to waste your time with that. But when we start looking at the depth of defensive tackles, especially with Christian Wilkins maybe beginning the season banged up, he's a guy that I think the fact that he got kept around by the new regime says they think that he can make the team, right? I can't remember if he was a free agent. I think he might have been a free agent this offseason, and they re-signed him to like a short-term deal. I mean, nothing big, but the fact that they either kept him around and or signed him another contract means that this front office thinks he might have a chance to be a team, because you don't usually keep veterans around that unless you think they can contribute. It's not like a young guy they're trying to develop or anything like that. So
yeah, he has 2 career sacks.
Yeah, I'm not expecting anything, but good amount of stops for as few as he played on PFF. Had I think 6 last year and like 60 something snaps, run defense snaps. So not a bad rate.
Okay. His only sack last year was against Kansas City. Interesting.
I didn't even realize that was what he had.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
The last game of the year he played 32 snaps, so he was starting to get play.
Yeah,
last year at the end of the year. So that's super interesting. I just think he's just 6'4", 290, and Pete Carroll's like, oh wow, perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Pete Carroll type of guy. Fits Pete Carroll's picky size stuff. So
yeah.
Also working in his favor. Again, another reason why he might make the team. Another reason to get to know him a little bit more.
Yeah. All right. And I did Trey Tucker mostly just because, like I said, he's making a lot of plays in OTAs, and I think it's kind of showing that he might be able to have a little bit of a breakout season, in my opinion, if he can consistently keep making plays and keep rapport with Geno Smith. That's gonna be big for him in his growth, because every time I see Levi Edwards talk about it, or you hear about Deshaun talk about it, what's happening out there, I think it's basically him making plays. I think even in the first day that they actually went out there and had some reps, I think we scored like 2 touchdowns that day or something like that. So yeah, so I think that's what I kind of want to go over him, because I'm always a team free Trey Tucker, and I think he might be free this year. He might get that freedom.
Yeah, I mean, I think he can. Like I'm definitely he's one of my top breakout campaign candidates, I guess, if you will, this season, just because of part of what you've shown, like just his growth as a route runner. I think that was what really stood out last year.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think I've talked about this a little bit. Like he finally has a quarterback that like fits what he does best, which is the deep ball. And I think winning on those deep routes and adding his intermediate game in the last year, I think will help him kind of become like that, like Tyler Lockett-esque that Geno Smith had with the Seahawks when they were up there. So I don't know. I'm high on Tucker too. I think he's going to be a breakout candidate. I feel like he gets a little bit of flack from the fan base, and definitely with Dante Thornton coming aboard, heats up his seat a little bit for that deep threat role. But I think as we both saw this past season, Thornton's a little bit more of a project. So I think there's still a big opportunity for Tucker to establish himself in the receiver room this year.
Yeah, I agree, dude. I think that he has a chance to kind of even become that big play guy that we always expected. And I just want to show that. I feel like I showed that a lot last year, but I feel like we have somebody who's actually going to throw that damn ball to him.
Yeah.
And a lot of the clips I believe to show here is going to be like, damn.
Who was it that tweeted out? Was it Brett Coleman, or was it like Matt Harmon, one of those guys that tweeted out like Trey Tucker had the 4th most uncatchable targets last season?
Yeah.
I forget who it was, but yeah, the point is didn't exactly have much to work with last season that I think really factored into his lack of production, because again, they didn't have someone who could really maximize his skill set.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's get to Zach Carter, man. Let's do some Zach Carter. Let's get into that, Mr. Third round pick for the Bengals in 2022.
All right, so we're going to start with, again, more the reps of him at the point of the attack. Now, I'm going to fair warn you, this first clip, the Bijan does still break it for a first down, but we're just looking at Carter here, so don't look at the end result. We'll get a little bit screwed here on the backside of the run, but part of the reason why Bijan ends up cutting this back is if we watch Carter, we'll get back to where he's highlighted, at this 4-eye technique, what he does a great job of is just playing into the guard and then boom, just getting extension. Like if you watch, we'll back this up a little bit. Like watch Bijan's eyes. Like he's clearly looking to come to this B gap, but once he sees Carter win, he just immediately beelines the backside, and it just ends up working out for him because no one else is able to get off their blocks.
Yeah.
But from Carter's perspective, like he actually ends up forcing this back, and as we'll see in a couple more of these plays, this ends up paying off later. This one just not a great example because they do end up picking up the first down, but it gets better throughout the clip here.
All right.
We'll see the same kind of thing, like a little outside zone. What I like about this too, like if you watch this clip, like he's going up against Jake Matthews, who's been a Pro Bowl tackle in the league.
Yeah.
What he does a great job of is kind of using his quickness to go from being inside shade on the tackle as a 4-eye, and then post snap getting to the outside shoulder. Like you'll watch that, like right here, like to kind of speaks to his get off, and then on top of it, that's going to help get him going this way and working laterally. So he does a great job of working laterally to avoid getting reached, and then on top of it uses this like long arm, or uses a one arm just to get extension on the block, and that's going to allow him to, you can see like keeps Matthews off his body, creates all that space between him, and now he's also able to avoid, or not on top of being able to avoid getting reached, he's also able to set the edge with a little bit of help here from Chase on and force that cut back, and on top of it too, like he's able to get off the block now and go make the tackle.
That's a nice play right there.
Technically didn't make the tackle, but yeah, either way. I mean, same kind of thing here. Now, this one, he kind of screws himself a little bit because he was so dominant against this guard. But what I love about it, it's like you'll see Bijan's going to try and hit the zone run in this backside A gap, but he ends up just closing the gap with a man because he ends up beating the guard again, winning at the point of attack. Great hands, great leverage, nice strong base. Just gets a little bit too far inside, but even so, he's so dominant that he still makes a tackle, and it's a 4-yard gain. Like we'll take that. If I'm going to critique him a little bit, let's just make sure we stay in like outside leverage here.
Yeah.
So that when Bijan cuts back, now we can get off, and instead of it being a 4-yard gain, it's a 1 to 2-yard gain. But either way, we'll take this. Good rep. Going up against Dahlman, the center here, who's again one of the better run blockers last year for the Falcons. Same kind of thing. Like one thing I like that he has great eyes and hands. Like you'll see him like slant into this gap post snap, and immediately just take his eyes to this guard. He like recognizes the blocking scheme pretty quickly.
Boom.
Again, gets off the block, forces the cutback here. I think he ends up getting involved in this tackle. Yeah.
He's just pretty good technique and hand placement. I mean, to play the run, it's super interesting, but
yeah, exactly. This one, he almost gets reached a little bit. Like you'll see, like he's a little bit later off the ball in this time. Like 73 here is going to actually square him up, but he has the hands and strength to recover, and ends up winning and gaining control of the block, and getting back into his inside positioning. And then for whatever reason, Tank Bisbee still decides to run this up the middle, and he ends up getting involved in the tackle again for like a 1 yard gain. I mean, same basic thing here, going up against Ezra Cleveland this time. Like, this is just what I like about his game. Like you said, like the technically sound, like just watch his hands, how he goes straight up with his hands and like gets some lift. Like he's going to kind of lift 76 pads up here. Like, I mean, at this point, like this is not exactly a powerful position for an offensive lineman to be in. So we won, we gained control of the block, and now we have the long arms lifted up, got like a little bit over 33-inch arms, 33 and a half, I think.
Yeah.
To keep guys away from him, and then just go make the play, go make the tackle. 1 yard gain.
Yeah, that's the type of guy Pete Carroll likes, that size and to play the run like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Now you understand a little bit more why he's still sticking around.
Yeah.
This one, no one gets off the block, so the Chargers do end up getting a decent gain on this. But what I just liked about this is like the same kind of thing. Like you'll see him take his eyes into alt, and boom, like he resets the line of scrimmage and ends up picking this puller, and like at the very least forcing this puller to slow down in his tracks, which gives Divine Diablo a chance to set that edge and be the force player and like prevent the running back from going back inside. Just Andre Carter's got to do a better job playing the cut here. But again, it's all that's kind of caused by Carter just winning at the point of attack.
Yeah.
This next one, again, a little bit more what I was talking about too, with him just being able to shift his eyes and hands. Like he's on the backside of a counter run here, which is tough because obviously he's focused on the tackle pre-snap. What I like is once he sees, like I'll slow this down a little bit. Once he sees Joe Alt's like shoulders start to rise and Alt start to work to go pull, like you can see he's already getting his inside hand prepped. Eyes are already coming towards the center, and he's just able to lock him out and take on that block, which is a lot harder than it looks because again, you have your tensions elsewhere pre-snap, but it's the same result. Just gets off the block.
Yeah.
Makes the tackle over and over again.
You can for sure play the damn run accident.
Yeah. This one was for sure. I mean, this one was my favorite too, because like he's just going up against Zion Johnson, like resets the line of scrimmage, and then on top of it, like stays in his gap. And then also when Dobbins tries to bounce back, he's able to get off the block and then go get involved in the tackle again. So yeah. And these last few clips kind of just showing the change up that I was talking about, like where he can also get penetration with his get off. Like on this one, the nose ends up getting reached. John Jenkins ends up getting reached, so it still goes for a decent gain. But like any cutback, anything before that, that's a TFL. Again, beating Matthews too, who's been a Pro Bowler, pretty sure. At the very least, been around forever.
Yeah, that's a nice play.
Yeah. I think this one he actually might get the tackle. Oh no, this one he forced the bounce on. But same kind of thing. Just playing at nose this time. Just gets off the ball and he has a nice little rip move too. Gets some clearance. You can see clearing the hands right there with that rip. And then Bigsby can't cut back inside, so he has to bounce it and goes right into Spillane and Snowden for a TFL. One more time, gotta get Johnson one more. Yeah, doesn't make the tackle on this one. I think Johnson gets away with a little holding here. Yeah, I mean, I think he probably could have called holding on Alt here too. They both had him around the waist. Oh, maybe not Alt, but either way, getting grabbed around the waist. And that ends up freeing up Spillane too because it takes Alt's attention. And we stop him short of the goal line. So even if he's not making the tackle here, which you'd like to see, which would be nice, but still not much you can do when you make the guy whip and they grab your waist.
Yeah. Let me get this on the screen here. All right. So So I got a question for you. So what's wrong with him as a pass rusher? Because now I'm interested. Like, because he looks pretty, he could move. So what's the issue there?
I think part of it is not like really good. Like he's kind of stiff in the hips and stuff like that, so he
Okay.
doesn't have like great like finesse moves. And I think just I don't know. It's just not really ever really been a part of his game. He's always kind of been way ahead as a rusher, as a run defender. But yeah, just for whatever reason, one of those guys that just doesn't translate.
Interesting. And now I want to go
But
look
yeah,
at it. So I mean, it's kind of weird. I mean, just looking at his well, he has a vertical jump of 28 inches. Oh, never mind.
yeah,
And his
he's got a weird.
go
He's got
ahead.
a very weird athletic profile where like had a like decent 40 time, had a good 10-yard split, like 40 times 499, 73rd percentile. 10-yard split was, let's see, 173, 62nd. So it's not bad, above average. And then,
Mhm.
yeah, like his vertical jump, 31st percentile, but broad jump 76th. And he only had 19 reps on the bench press, which obviously that does not match the film.
No, it does
Very
not.
weird athletic profile. Like, I wish I had a better answer for you, but he's a tough guy to pin down. But
Yeah, that's
I think
weird as
even at
well.
Florida, he wasn't much of a pass rusher. So
Yes, yeah. Because now I remember him coming out. Now I think about it, I remember him coming out. Yeah, that's super strange. That like you like when you feel like you
yeah,
can move, like doing some of like the swim moves and stuff like that, and the get off that he has, you figure that he'd be a
yeah,
better pass rusher. So that's super strange to me a little bit. I
it's
don't know,
weird. I'm trying to
but
see if I can look it up on PFF.
I was trying to PFS like down. I was down for me this morning. I was
Oh
trying to do
yeah,
some.
it hasn't been working for me, but
Yeah,
yeah, see if I can see how many pressures he had in college. But yeah, I know in the NFL he's primarily just been a run defender.
yeah, man. I was like, that's super interesting to me. Just watching that. I was like, why can't you rush the passer, man? Like, well, what is
Yeah,
the issue there? So but I mean, to me, like he feels like a guy that could even play on first down, over Adam Butler at times.
yeah,
When
maybe.
in
Yeah,
some of the in certain situations, right?
yeah,
Just because he's going to be a better run defender overall, and you can kind of see that. You can see that he's a good run defender. It's kind of what's kept him in the NFL for so long, but it's also why he's not a starter because he can't
yeah,
rush the passer. Man, I mean,
yeah,
and you're 280 pounds and you can't rush the passer. Like nobody's gonna be too excited about you
for
over
sure.
time. So, yeah, so that is super interesting to me. Like, I just can't just watch that. I was like, why? Like, why can't you, bro? Like, what are you doing wrong over here? So
Yeah,
that's why that's why I wanted to ask you that. Like, because I was confused watching you break it down. So it's a little confusing. That's all.
yeah. He's just got a weird profile all around. Like a slightly undersized, but doesn't play like it. And then like again, like the testing is all over the charts. So
Yeah,
both good and bad.
yeah. Yeah, I can see him playing though, regardless of
Yeah,
especially with Wilkins hurt. Yeah, definitely. That's why he's getting a lot of play because he's steady. Like he's
yeah,
steady and solid player. You know what I mean?
yeah.
He's not gonna be bad for you, but he's not gonna be great either. So it's just that type of player.
Yeah, definitely a guy to keep an eye on during training camp and the preseason. He'll be fighting for a roster spot and again has a decent chance to earn one and be a backup D tackle. I think with a
Yeah,
healthy Wilkins.
yeah. Which the Raiders need a healthy Wilkins, man. Side note, I mean, I know I posted it on Twitter, man, but that 2016 defensive line, I've been thinking about that for a while. I just don't understand how the Raiders are not good with that defensive line.
Was it Mac, Bruce Irvin, Jelly when he was when he was a really good nose?
Denico
Who's the
Autry.
three technique? Danico Autry. That's right. Yeah, young Danico. Yeah, and then Mario Edwards when he could stay healthy, he was always
Yeah,
he could make some plays every now and again.
I've been thinking about that since I did that last night. I was like, what how did the Raiders not have a just great defense? Like,
Because you posted the linebacker core too, right?
yeah,
Secondary wasn't great either.
I know, man. I was trying to figure out how that team won any games last that year. But anyways, all right, let's get to Trey Tucker, man. Trey Tucker. All right, so Trey Tucker, and so we're gonna be looking at his game. We start with what he does best, which is run deep routes, right? That's what he does best. So start with this one against the Chiefs here, and I really like this one because it's just him running past somebody. It's not really a lot of skill. There's no skill at all here. It's just I'm faster than you, safety, and this is a great play call by Scott Turner to get him on that 101, and then track that football, score that touchdown.
I like the head start motion too.
Yeah. Which, something that, Chip Kelly's probably going to implement. Chip Kelly's probably, ooh,
Yeah.
we can do that now in the NFL. You do that? Oh, that's cool. Boom, right there, touchdown. Run it in for 6. Easy stuff. And as I said, it's just pure speed. And like, getting him matched up on a safety like this, I mean, type of things that you want to do, especially when they're going to be able to run the ball. And this look here, which is kind of like basically a cover 0 look, in my opinion. And that's why you have the safety here against the Chiefs. But, when you're playing against these type of looks and you can get Trey Tucker 1-on-1 on a safety, Reed tried his best, man. And Reed's a good safety, but he's not that fast. He's a safety.
No.
All right. Here's one of my favorite games, Tucker. I mean, and it's crazy. He only had 2 catches, 41 yards in this game. But, you saw some of his best route running, in my opinion. You see him here against Tyrone Campbell, who's a good corner. He's not a bad corner in the NFL. Kind of just runs right past him. Nice, great release here. Right. Nice release. Doesn't even have to do too much. It's just from the beginning of the release. And, this isn't the greatest throw in the world from O'Connell, but he is under pressure.
Yeah.
Fair. Kind of has to lean back. But I love how he tracks his football in the air here.
For sure.
Right. And he's able to adjust here and make a great catch. You can see it better on the backside of this one.
Yeah. By the way, it's Tyson Campbell.
No, Tyson. Sorry, Tyson.
You're good.
Tyson, Tyrone. You know what I mean? I got the tie right. Ty Campbell. Let's just say there you go. All right. And just be able to track this football, right? Because, I mean, if this is a great throw, it's a touchdown. But he's still able to track it, make a great catch right there to get it back. So it's just boom right there. Great catch. Bring that football in.
Yeah. I feel like for me, that's part of what's like been frustrating with Trey Tucker is like he's not only good at like, obviously he can run, but he can also track the deep ball really well. But
Yeah.
they haven't been able to really consistently take advantage of it. And then a few occasional throws by Aiden.
Yeah. All right, so here's another one that I like. This play right here is the type of play that Geno Smith's get a throw to Trey Tucker. Okay, like you're gonna watch Minshew. I know I probably showed this play if you're a fan of the show. You've probably seen this play before when they played the Broncos, but which I just watching this, going back and watching Gardner Minshew is very depressing. But what I loved about this route, as you see, 39. He's in bail technique right there, and then he gets him spinned around here, right? Look at this, boom, quick jab step. He spinned around, and Minshew just does not throw this ball. He just doesn't throw it. He just refuses, right? But like Geno Smith's throwing this football,
yeah,
right. And especially if that's the play design, you can see Minshew is supposed to go there. You can see where his eyes are, right? That ball, especially with this guy flat-footed, Geno Smith's throwing this ball as far as he can because that guy even hesitated. He's running past it, right? He's running past that dude. And, Minshew, runs for a first down here. Not really, but you just could see, like, that's the read. Like, this ball's going to be in the air. And this is why he's going to get more opportunities here.
Yeah.
Good old Minshew. And this one, too, okay? And the difference between with me on this one is I think Geno Smith could be a little bit better pre-snap than Aiden O'Connell because what you got here, you got quarters, right? And you can tell it's kind of quarters pre-snap. I think Geno Smith could be able to recognize this a whole lot better. Watch this breakdown with Ted Gwynn. He kind of talks about seeing quarters and stuff like that and what he can do pre-snap and kind of going over that. Because when you get that pre-snap, right, from these routes, one, you're getting Brock Bowers on this corner, right? He's kind of sitting on it, right? It kind of looks a little bit kind of like cover 6 a little bit, but it really isn't because he's got to roll with this guy. And then you see what he's doing, right? This safety up here and how he has to take Tucker 1-on-1. So one, I mean, he could have threw Bowers too on this one, but O'Connell forces this ball to Mayer when it's quarters. That Matthew's going to be breaking on this route, so you got a drive concept. You can go back a little bit. So drive concept, which is dig and then a drag here, and then you got basically kind of like a fade post type of thing, right? But what I mean by this is you get this 1-on-1 with him, and the safety, and you got this trailing linebacker. Like, look how wide open he is.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. Like pre-snap, you're going to see something different. Like Geno Smith's throwing. In my opinion, if they have this concept, Geno Smith's throwing to this side. He's not looking here to this the drive concept at the bottom, which I think is a little bit of the difference between these having a legit starting quarterback and a little bit of a backup quarterback there. Because I mean, this ball is thrown to Trey Tucker. Like that's that, or it's at least thrown to Brock Bowers or Trey Tucker, one of the two. But you know what I mean? Like this is gonna be a big play for Trey Tucker right there.
Yeah.
Maybe even a touchdown. But instead, you're off the field. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. So here's another run here. Now, I just like this route, and I know O'Connell couldn't get him the football, but it kind of just shows, I like his release. 14 gets physical with him here at the line of scrimmage. He's able to just do a nice little arm over there, right? And then, at the end, he's able to create some separation. All right. That's a great throw by O'Connell here to Brock Bowers under pressure, which O'Connell has some dimes in this game. But it is just look at that, the release. You gotta just see what he could do, man, with somebody like Geno Smith, right? And just knowing what these teams are doing pre-snap is something that Geno's just gonna be better at than any of the quarterbacks that were here before. So, all right. So this one is not really about the route, but I just like this concentration on this one, this catch. So kind of the same thing though, like. If you're this is what I'm talking about, like Geno Smith versus the other quarterback, because it's pre-snap, you see what you got, you got this cover 3 look, you're gonna put this guy in a bind, right? Like this ball should just be to Trey Tucker anyways, in my opinion. You should just based on this, you just throw it right here.
Yeah.
Besides,
I don't know why I didn't go there.
Yeah, right. And and then he ends up going there anyways, late, but it's a great catch by Trey getting his butt, right. Go ahead, Matt. What are you saying?
I was gonna say he did a pretty damn good job selling the out route, like back it up, like right when he makes the break for the out. Pause it there. Like you'll see the corner's eyes like kind of shift, like right now, like yeah, exactly. Like you have it, like he's not giving any indication that he's running an out and up, but like you can see the corner's already kind of giving up on him, and then he breaks free, so which I think helps him get so wide open.
Yeah,
like that's a pretty good route, even if it wasn't schemed open. Which obviously,
I mean, but this just ends up being a great catch, and you see it from this side here. I don't know why O'Connell just didn't throw it to him in the first place, but right there, boom, and he's just great, great concentration, great balance. It's something that he had issue with year one, and making a great play there. Now here's him running some more intermediate routes, which is something that he's definitely, I think there's still a little bit of issues on some of these, but there's still a lot of growth at the end of the year you saw from him. So inside, like I love this route right here. Good job of, getting it flat too. Doesn't round it off, but does a good job of selling this route.
BD's favorite route, the blaze out.
Yeah, the blaze out. Yeah, right there. Boom. Nice little blaze out there. Nice play.
If that ball's in front of him, he might have a chance.
I know. Don't remind me of it.
He doesn't have to slow down for it.
I was like, man, I can't like I understand how they thought they're gonna win with these guys. Now that I go back and watch this film, I just don't understand that concept. Man, you should have traded up, Tom. I know you said I'm ready to trade up for it. No, well, you should have. You should have. Right? I don't know. Anyways, all right. So here's another one here. This one's a simple kind of just comeback route, and you kind of can see I'm gonna show you a different play, which it kind of shows his growth as a receiver, because I think this was like I don't know, I forgot what week this was. I think it was like week 12, week 13. Then you get to go back to the Saints game, week 17. It's gonna be a little bit different on kind of the same route concept, but still being able to sell the speed. But I just love how he comes back to this football.
Yeah,
because this ball is thrown short. He's able to come back to the football, make a play here. So I really like that ability on this one. Even you talk about maybe it's a little stiff coming out of this break.
Yeah, he takes a while to get out of there, but
yeah. And
That's where the head start motion doesn't like hurts him because now he got too much momentum going on.
Yeah, but he does a good job of making that play and coming back to the football. All right, so on this one, he's at the bottom here. He's running a little slant route, which I like this, against Campbell here again. What I like about it is how he kind of sells the go route because Campbell ends up opening the gate a little too early, in my opinion. I think if he stayed square a little bit better, and he's playing a little bit of outside leverage there. So maybe they are playing cover 2, maybe because you kind of look at it here. But what I like is that he starts going upfield, and then good timing with O'Connell. Then he runs a slant there, good catch. He's able to get the first down there. So I just like that one. And then here he gets Ty Campbell again. And like I said, another great release here. And he does get open. I don't know. Like it's another play where I'm not sure why O'Connell didn't throw him the football. He kind of just got stuck on Jacoby Myers here. We kind of looked at him, right? And you kind of see, with I think that's Devin Lloyd, right? Maybe it's Devin Lloyd. I don't think so.
Yeah,
No, Devin Lloyd's 33.
That's Olukun. I can't say that one.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I wasn't going to try, Matt. Shout out to you for trying. But there's 11 here, right? And he's open, right? You figure that if Connell just throws it to him, it's touchdown, right? But it's a great release. Again, like I said, that's a good corner. Like Campbell's not a bad corner.
Yeah, I mean he's the Jags' best corner. I mean, a couple times beaten. Trey Tucker beat him at least a couple times. 3 times you show it.
Yeah, did a pretty damn good job. All right, and like this route here, this is probably my favorite route that he ran. Because I don't know why O'Connell isn't throwing this ball. There's a lot of questions. I mean, a couple played good in this game too. I was watching it back. He actually played good, but it's also showed me like why we had Geno Smith, because this is just look at this route he runs. Because what I love about this route is how he basically gets in, like in his kind of what's the word I'm looking for?
Blind spot.
Yes, there you go. Gets in his blind spot, right, and then just pushes it forward like that. And just look at the separation he gets right there. It's perfect. And if O'Connell throws him the ball on time, right? If he just anticipates it, he knows it's a comeback, throws it on time here. Like, boom. Like, imagine him catching this and he just turns upfield.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a big play right there. I have no idea.
Looked to me like he kind of like he veered into it, like he like changed his path a little bit, recognizing the side saddle technique to get into that blind spot too. Like he recognized it a little bit.
Yeah. And it's all that separation.
Yeah. The conscious effort, what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I know. Like, come on, O'Connell. Throw the damn ball, though. Throw the damn ball. All right. So let's look at him in the slot a little bit and why, he actually is primarily playing outside right now, which I think is smart of Chip Kelly. So shout out to Chip. Because it's just routes like this where you see the stiffness. So he's going to be running basically a whip route here, in and out, like a return route. And you kind of see the stiffness here allows 0. So even if you take the speed and you get 0 off balance, he takes so long to get out of this break that allows him to recover there and make a play on the ball. So you can kind of just see just how, like, it just shows how, like, he gets stuck, in my opinion. And then he comes back out, right? It's just that change of direction speed is in there. And that's why I never thought he could be a good slot receiver, in my opinion. But he definitely the perfect example here.
Instead of being quicker than fast, he's faster than quick.
Yeah. The opposite, you know what I mean? All right. And then here's another one, kind of the same thing, kind of the same route concept. I mean, but this one ends up being the actual whip route here. He's trying to get back outside, but you could see it here. Like it's just hard for him to kind of get out of these breaks on some of these routes, and it just takes him a while to have that change of direction. This is the high level O'Connell throw anticipation here, but and that's a little bit of his issue, but I still believe why he could have a bigger year than people give him credit for is just because he's not going to face that. I don't think they're going to ask him to do those type of things this year. But yeah, I mean that's Trey Tucker, and like I said, a couple of those plays that I showed, I mean that ball is going to him, and it's gonna be a big play, and I think Geno is gonna maximize that, especially when they get those play action looks and they get some of those, you know, I would say a lot of people in the box, not expecting them to be a pass heavy team, which I think a lot of teams early on they're not going to be expecting that, and
Yeah.
that's why I think he's going to have some big games where he's having like maybe 4 catches for like 120 or something like that, where it's not like him dominating, but it's like Geno Smith having that high YPA type of games where he's throwing the ball downfield and just Tucker just has a couple catches, like 1 for 40, 1 for 50, like those type of catches, and having a bigger year with less catches and maybe less targets than, Jacoby Myers gets, or, of course, between those two Bowers and Myers, they're going to get the most targets. But, Tucker is going to have those big plays where he maximizes his targets and gets a lot more yards than he did the year before.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said at the beginning, like I think the arrow's pointing up on Trey Tucker, and I kind of expecting big things from him. I feel like this is kind of make or break year. I think with a lot of receivers, that third season is typically when we see them either kind of rise to the occasion and become a decent pro, or just kind of fade away. So he's obviously entering that, and again, I'm hopeful for him because I think he's done a lot, like you showed, that as far as being a route runner and just becoming more of a receiver instead of just like a speed demon or a deep threat. To add to his game. Definitely not a short area guy, not a guy that you want on a ton of like short routes and slants and stuff like that. But in the intermediate to deep area of the game, I think he can really make an impact, and especially with how much his route running has improved in the last 2 years.
Yeah, for sure, dude. All right, guys. So that's the show for today. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Matt's gonna go on a little vacation, so we're gonna take a little break. So probably no show Wednesday, but we'll have something up that you guys can enjoy, some breakdowns and stuff like that. So we'll be back next Sunday, right, Matt? Right?
Yeah, that's your word.
Yeah. Next Sunday we'll be back with another show like this for more film reviews, and of course we'll get ready for the off season and get you guys ready for the season during the dead period, because that's what we're about to get. The dead period is about to start, guys. It's about to be dead. Yeah. So
we think there's no news now.
No, actually, we pray that there's no news during. The
also true.
If there's news, then it means it's
very true.
Everybody's wilding
unless it's a contract extension. We don't need anything.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, let's hit the subscribe button. We're out of here. Peace.